Right, welcome back. All right, welcome back to Module 3 of this course. In the first module, we defined growth hacking and differentiated it from growth marketing, as well as why growth is important and all the other things related to growth hacking and growth marketing. And in Module 2, we actually looked at growth marketing foundations, all the tools that we need to be sure that we have so that we can gain clarity up to this point. Those tools will now be beneficial for this particular module. In this module, we'll be looking at customer acquisition and retention. The thing about customer acquisition is this. You want to deliver the right message at the right time to the right person via the right channel. That's what you're looking for. Of course, our value proposition canvas that we look at by now will make us to be able to craft a proper message for whatever offering that we have. Right channel, we've already looked at channel when we look at product market fit. We looked at channel fit also. So by now, we should get that out of the way. And then we now look at the right person and right time. How does this all come together? Now, again, you have to ask yourself the question, where are your ideal customers? The thing about it is that the bulk of your ideal customers, they are on some specific channels more than on some channels. And you have to understand the uniqueness of every channel that your customer may be on. Because your customer may be on a specific channel, but how they interact with the channel may limit or help your results because different channels has different pros and cons of how the channel is used. There's a way Twitter is used, which is not the same way Snapchat or TikTok is used. And in fact, you do not have the same set of people on TikTok as Twitter. The demography is different. The generations on each of those channels are different. So tools in the earlier modules will now be used in this particular module. We already looked at the business model canvas, and I'm sure you have an understanding now. We looked at the value proposition canvas. This is going to be very useful for us to now craft the messages that we are going to put out there to acquire customers. We also look at the product market fit, where we take a look at all the things around customer segments and the products that we are offering. A good book that I recommend for customer acquisition for startup is the book called Traction, where these two guys actually highlighted the major 19 channels that people use or businesses use to acquire customers. So I want to recommend this book. Go get it if you can. And these are the 19 key traction channels. You have targeting blogs, you have PR, you have unconventional PR, you have search engine marketing, social display, offline ads, search engine optimization, content marketing, email marketing, viral marketing, engineering as marketing, business development, sales, affiliate programs, existing platforms, trade shows, offline events, speaking engagements, and community building. I mean, you have subsets under each of these platforms, and this platform work in different ways. They do not work the same way. So it's very important that we pay attention to that. And we'll look at that shortly as we move along. So the thing about it is that when you look at social media platforms, for example, you begin to realize that the demography of people on each of the channels, they are different. I mean, you have all demographies on all the channels. But when we say what demography is predominant on which channel, that's where we begin to see that there's a difference, because you have older people also on Snapchat, but they are not a lot, right? You have teens, you have teens on a lot of teens, especially in the US. They use Snapchat a lot, and they also use TikTok. It seems to be for the younger generation. And the thing about it is that even for TikTok, you actually have more females. About 60% of the people on that channel are females. So depending on the kind of product you are building, you want to put that into context. We're going to look at how the content and the strategies and the cons actually work together with how you should be targeting each of the channels that you want to use. And so think generations when you're thinking about your marketing program or your acquisition. By now, you have looked at the use case map, and you have also looked at the product market fit, where you are able to clearly identify the type of customers that you want. So when you think in terms of generations, we think in terms of when people were born. People are born between a particular time and a particular time. It shows us generations, and they behave differently. The reasons why these have been created is to show something unique that happened during a particular period that that influences the behavior of people of specific ages. And so we have, for example, the silent generation, very old, right? You have the baby boomers. They were the ones that actually brought the internet revolutions to us. I mean, many of them are rich, many of them are already old. They kind of understand the internet well, but I mean, a lot has been done in technology even after then. You have the Generation X that were born in 1965 to 1930, and then you have the millennials, which you also call the Gen Y, and then you have the Gen Zs. They were born in 1997 to 2012, and then you have the Alpha. These ones are still pretty much young. Why are we thinking in terms of generations? We think generations because they behave differently, and they respond to various marketing materials. They are available on specific channels. For example, we're saying that the teens, which will be like the Gen Zs, the Alpha generations, they are more available on Snapchat, and they're more available on TikTok. So you want to know where your ideal customers are. So think generations. Also think generations because of the way they think, the way they view life is different. I'll give you an example here, and we have this from a particular research by Duta and Jen in 2026. The way they view life is just totally different. So, for example, you have the baby boomers. They also call them, they have moral authority, and they call themselves the me generation. And most of the time, they are anti-government, and they are looking for equal opportunities. They were the ones that kind of pushed the Silicon Valley movement. They were looking for equal opportunity. They came out of the traditional way of doing businesses, right? And they actually have personal gratification. So they always think in terms of anti-government, like they are very capitalist in nature. So that's the way they think. But the Generation X, they want balance, they want diversity, and they are very entrepreneurial, and they are very highly educated. They have good education. Or the millennials, on the other hand, you see that they are self-confident. They want extreme fun, and they want instant gratification. So you have to think about that. Notice how millennials want instant gratification. Whatever they want it now and fast. That's how millennials think. And then you have the Gen Zs or the Centennials. They have a vigilant output. They can doubt. They have the ability to really doubt. They are very tempered. Tempered means they have tempered expectations. So that means they can be very emotional about issues. So how you actually relate to them then matters, depending on the kind of product offering that you do have. So if you are targeting people that are millennials, or your product is for millennials, you want to think in terms of instant gratification. You want to think in terms of diversity. They think inclusion. They really push for. They just put for the inclusion, minority. They push for things like that. Sociability. They like socializing, right? So you want to think in terms of that. How does that information affect your promotions, right? Wherever you are doing your promotions. And even though the millennials, for example, they are between 18 to 34 years old, just like we have today where people identify as he, she, they, they are supposed to naturally be called millennials. But you do have some millennials, that means people that are between 18 to 34, who do not identify as millennials. So not all millennials think like millennials, right? And because this was a research that was done by Pew, so not all millennials also think like millennials. So, for example, the millennials category is very diverse because some of them actually think, some millennials actually think and identify as Generation X. They think like Generation X. So you see Generation X, 58%, that's a large percentage of people thinking that way. You have the baby boomer, a huge percentage of them identify as baby boomers. You have some baby boomers who actually identify as millennials. They think like millennials. They have the characteristics of they actually have the characteristics of millennials, which will mean that they also want instant gratification. So they want those type of things, and then you have the silent generation. So those are some of the things that you want to think about when you are running. This is about ideal customer profile, right? And where they are on. For example, millennials are more likely than others to be influenced by social media. Yeah. The category of generations that can be influenced by social media the most are the millennials, right? They are much more influenced. In fact, they are more influenced than even your typical Gen Z. And this was a research that was done by McKinsey, right? So um, uh, basically, I'm using Indonesia as this thing in 2022. And so you see that they are super influenced, super influenced by what they see on social media. And but where do you have millennials actually? Remember that with millennials, you sort of have many of them on Facebook, you have them on uh, because they're like 18 to 34. You have them on YouTube, you have them on Instagram, you have quote and unquote to some extent on Twitter, but not so large. You do not have a large percentage of them there. So if you were trying to target millennials, you'll be looking at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter majorly. They are not even uh, predominantly on Snapchat or TikTok. They're not there. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they are on Twitter. You have a very few amount of them that are on Instagram. So you want to take note of that and how you can use those particular platforms to influence them. Now, when we think in terms of, let's say, search and social category, where you have search, for search, for example, you have search engine optimization, you have search engine marketing. Search engine optimization is organic, where you are optimizing certain content so that you can rank in search results when people input their keywords. For search engine marketing, you want to appear when people type in certain key phrases or queries so that you have an advert appears. At the intersection of search and social, both search and social need analytical marketing skill sets because there's analytics for search. For search engine optimization, you have the Google Search Console, and you also have your Google Analytics to help you check people that are coming from organic, maybe to your website or your offering. Um, both search and social have high funnel, low funnel, and high intent customers. So, for example, somebody wants to buy something, and then the person goes to search for that particular thing, and then your product shows up. So let's say a fintech app, and you say dollar investments in Nigeria, and then your fintech app actually shows. That means you're looking for dollar investments because that is buyer intent, right? So that is high intent. You also have low funnel in the sense that you can have people just searching for information, just for research, and maybe you've written something about it, and so you have that there. That also applies to social, but there's a difference for that of social. That of social, yes, you know that people may have that need, but they are not searching for that need. That means you need to increase awareness. You know, you need to increase awareness. And for social, it's mostly scaled linearly. That means most of the time it's not really like a loop per se. And then for search, you have explosion of scale on result jump page. That means you scale better. Maybe when your search, when people are searching for something, for example, I use the fintech app, and you now move from page 3 of Google to page 1. There can be a massive explosion because people rarely move to page 2, page 3. Most of the organic traffic to people's websites and landing pages are on page one. So that could be a good thing for the longer. So I'm trying to talk about the dynamics of each of the platforms that you want to use here. Remember that we've done channel market feed. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at that very soon. Sorry, we will not look at channel market feed, but we're going to look at that shortly. How to know how a channel actually fits, what to look out for in selecting a channel to achieve a particular part of your growth, whether it's a channel for acquisition, whether it's a channel for retention, or whether it's a channel for monetization. Remember the growth model. So this pillars here. We use this channel assessment to check whether your audience are actually here. This assessment that we use here is called the channel assessment, and it's by Reforge. But we'll be doubling down on channel feeds, channel behavior and channel controls a bit advanced, but we'll be doubling down on channel feeds. What's channel feed about? Channel feed is about matching the right audience, right context, and we'll look at all the major things you need to look out for, whether a particular channel fits your promotion. So here on this for channel fit as a pillar is the first foundation and is the most important. If you get this right, you are on the right track. And this is based on your relationship, the user relationship with this channel, with that particular channel. How are users, what are they doing on their channel? If you say your ideal customers are there, just saw that millennials are on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. They are majorly there. How are they using the platform and all that, and how does that help you to achieve whatever you want to achieve? So we look at that, and then we have also channel behaviors, which is looking at the dynamics of the channel, right? Looking at dynamics of the channel, and the last one is you look at what to optimize for. How can you optimize each of those channels? But again, like I said, we are focused on the channel feed part because that's the most important part here. The channel behaviors and channel controls, majorly for people who are performance marketers. They're running adverts, and there's a detail there. But the channel feed is something that if you get it right, you've literally gotten a lot of foundation right. And so, for example, if you have SEO as a channel, you look at and you're asking the question, is our user accessible here? These are the questions you are asking. What are they doing here? That means they're searching for something. What role does it play in our growth model? Remember the growth model: acquisition, retention, or monetization. What is it solving? So you have acquisition channel, retention channel, and monetization channels, right? And so if you pick SEO as an example, you're asking these questions. For the same SEO, you're asking yourself, what happens here? What's the dynamics? The dynamics is that, well, it can have a long-term impact because over time, people can find you or find a particular help because maybe you've read a blog post or something, and it requires a lot of effort. It's not immediate; it's slow. If you build a landing page today, it requires a lot of effort. You are investing into what we call the on-page SEO, which is what you do on the page itself. Which include things like adding your alt text. Does your image have the keywords? Are you using the keywords? What's the readability? What's the time on site? So it has a lot of effort that is needed here, and you also have the controls. What are the limitations here? What can you optimize for here? Well, for SEO as an example, you have low targetability. Low targetability because SEO, remember, is search engine optimization. Even if you are ranking, you can't get more than the number of people that are searching for the keywords. So if 20,000 people in Nigeria are searching for that keywords, that's it. You can't scale beyond that. Like, you've appeared, but when you look at your Google keyword research tool and you find out that, well, we only have 20,000 people that are searching for this, and out of those people that are searching monthly, we'll get a few of those people. So those are the dynamics there. So you have to know the limitations of each of the channels. Now, let's get focused on the channel fit, right? So we have 5 pillars that we use for the channel fit. We have five pillars that we use for the channel fit, and we're going to quickly look at it. Some we've already looked at before. This is the point where I said all that you've learned before will be useful. So first, you are looking at your use case. Remember, we did use case. Remember, we actually looked at use case. If you remember, we looked at SurveyMonkey. Why do you need this use case here? You need a use case because you have your ideal customer, your target user. Are they on this channel? That's the question you're asking. That's the relevancy of the use case map. Are they on this channel? Also, why is this relevant? You are looking at the problems that these people have. Do you think that channel is contextual for the problem? Like, are they looking for solutions for that particular problem? But the most important part of the use case map here that we use for channel attribution is, channel fit is actually the ideal customer, right? Are they here? Once you've defined your ideal customers, are they here? So young to middle age individual will be millennials, like that's 18 to 34. So for SurveyMonkey, so SurveyMonkey wants to ask, where are my users typically? Where are they? Which channel are they on? So that's the first part of the pillar you're looking for to know whether a channel fits what you want to achieve. The second thing is the context. Remember, I also talk about. We also talk about how you should think about even generations, because you have generations, and how, yes, you might have a particular millennial generation, but not all of them think the same way. You want to remember that. We also talk about this, where you have this as a tool that you can always refer to, because you have the age, you have the content, what kind of contents are predominant here. And then the second thing itself is context. Yeah, I mentioned use case. So context is the next thing you want to look at. And by context, you are looking at content and strategy. Let's use this as an example. Let's use young to middle age as an example. Context with them mean, what are they doing on this channel? So on Facebook, there's live video, there's information, there's photos and links. On YouTube, you have maybe explainers, maybe webinars, and then maybe there are how-tos. And on Instagram, maybe there's questions and polls, there's inspiration and adventure. Context matters. Context matters. So which of these three will make sense for your business if your business was serving millennials? One will be the major one that is useful. Your type of audiences, are they looking for how-tos? Are they looking for webinars? That means YouTube might be your best bet, because that is where that is happening. You have a lot of how-tos, you have a lot of recorded webinars that is happening there. So context matters here that you want to take a look at. Then the intent is the third thing, right? The intent. How close are your users to making a purchase decision? What do they want to achieve on that particular platform? And we have this as an example. Say you have Billboard as an example, because Billboard is a channel, is a channel, an offline channel. That will not necessarily give you immediate conversion, because you have to be, candid with yourself that people are just driving by a billboard, and that's just far from conversion. So the highest thing the billboard is probably doing is just awareness. So somebody is driving with two hands. The person can't type www. something. The person is just aware. The person is not even in the mood of trying to be converted, right? And same thing with a pre-roll video, for example, on YouTube. The person is actually watching a video. The person is not planning to come and buy your products, and then you are showing a YouTube video to the person. So context matters here also for intent, for the intent of the customer, because the customer is not necessarily there. While some other channels have a higher level of intent, right? And how you use a channel, of course. For example, App Store optimization has a higher level of intent. So where you've optimized your app so much for a specific keyword. Again, let me use the fintech product. See, dollar investments in Nigeria, and you are ranking for that. Why is the person typing dollar investments in Nigeria app or dollar investment app? Because the person is looking for dollar investment app in the Play Store or in the App Store. So the person is closer to decision. So some particular platforms actually they are closer to maybe what you want to achieve, right? Than some other platforms. Some other platforms are not close to conversion, but that doesn't mean that they are not useful. It just depends on the strategic goal of the company, right? As for example, we have this spectrum. We have a spectrum from low to high intent. A spectrum from low to high intent. On the low intent side, which is on the left corner, left hand side, you have billboards, you have affiliates, you have sponsorship. So if you sponsor an event, that doesn't mean you're going to generate any major conversion. Maybe you just help with the awareness part of the pirate funnel. Whereas search engine marketing is very close, because if I search for something that I want to buy, maybe an e-commerce platform, I want to say prices for Gucci handbag. Why am I asking? Because somebody that is asking for price, it could be two things. Maybe the person wants to buy, or the person is actually having a research. So maybe the person is actually researching. Same thing with apps optimization that I just talked about. So you have this different spectrum of intents for various platforms. So various platforms will give you various conversion levels. So you have to be aware of that, so that you do not think that, oh, if I run an advert on, say, billboard, I'm going to get a lot of conversions very fast. Not necessarily so. Not necessarily so. So, intent matters on any channel that you're trying to use. And then we have the growth model, which we have looked at. What exactly are you even trying to achieve with with this channel? Are you trying to achieve acquisition? Are you trying to achieve retention? Are you trying to achieve monetization? Gotta know, what are you actually trying to achieve? Okay, so if it's acting as an acquisition channel, because channel doesn't always mean acquisition. Channel can be used for any of these three things, right? So if it's an acquisition channel, is it a loop or is it a linear source? Loop in the sense that when we use it, remember the loop, the growth loop we talked about, the output will become, we will feed into the input. Or is it a linear source? Linear source means once we stop it, nothing is going to happen again. So an example of linear source, maybe you run a major advert, and when you run the major advert, once you stop the advert, it stops. It's not a loop, right? Or is it a loop? So whatever channel you are looking at, is it like a loop or is it like a linear source? So that's very important. So you have to evaluate loops versus linear. So a loop can be a channel for, maybe loop can be something like word of mouth. This person tells this person uses it, and this person likes the particular product and tells another person. Event sponsorship, on the other hand, once the event is over, that's all. It's not a loop. Once the event is over, that's all. And then the next one is actually the metrics. The metrics has to do with what will you measure on the channel? What are you really trying to achieve? Because it has to be clear what you want to measure. And can the channel give you that particular thing you want to measure? So if it's acquisition, as a loop, if it's acquisition, what you're looking for Credit Karma, for example, which is an app where people can check their credit score, is the number of new members that they can have maybe per month with TV and experiential, as an example. But if you are looking at maybe email or display, maybe it's the number of monthly active members. Perhaps you are using a display advert on Google to remarket people that have not been activated. So you want to reactivate them. That would be like a loop. And then same for email. So you want to think in terms of what's the metric, what's the actual metric that makes that we are looking for from this particular channel in relation to what you want. But since we're talking about acquisition, I will guess that you're looking for a channel that actually gives you maybe new members. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about acquisition. And so that's the channel assessment that we're looking at. So without the channel fit, a channel should not be part of your portfolio. There's no point. Like if you look at all the 5 pillars we looked at, if it doesn't fit, do not add that channel to your portfolio, or at least do not put it as the most priority channels. Do not put them as the most priority channels. And so typically, We are told that this is how you run your campaigns, or this is how you promote your stuff, or your business online. And maybe first you define your business goals, you define your audience, right? We've looked at that. Then you test the channels. Can you see that that's not the case here? We're not trying to just test channel. We want to even know ahead of time whether it fits. The typical growth hacking plan would just be try this, test that. But we do not have that time and space and resources to do that as an upcoming company. We do not have that time to just be testing. No, we want to actually adapt. So instead of the cycle going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, we want to move from 1 to 2. Once we've defined that, what we actually want to do is to adapt. So we move from 1 to 2, and then we want to actually adapt. That's the fit. We want to actually adapt it because we believe that that's where we're going to be most profitable, right? That's where we can actually maximize customer acquisition. So we go to number 5 from number 2. And then when we adapt, we want to test various things on the channels. We don't want to test the channel, but we want to test various things based on what we know about that channel, based on the context of that channel. We want to test things, then we want to analyze. That's the trajectory that we want to use. So it's not this particular format. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we want to go from 1 to 2 to 5, and then from 5 we want to go to not testing the channels, but testing things on the platform, right? And then analyzing. That's what we want to do. We have a worksheet here that can help you to do your channel fit. So you have fit on the side. You look at the use case. So you list out specific channels that you've item that you believe could be maybe the top 5 channels based on what we talked about, and then you list 5 channels here. This just helps you to clarify your thoughts. What's the use case? Can I reach people who have my target use case on this channel? Are they here? You had it, you say yes or no. That's a yes or no question. Channel context. Does this channel context align with my use case? What are the target users or consumers? What are they doing on the channel? How does this compare with their use case for our product? What are they doing here? Does that fit what we are looking for? What's the intent? How motivated are the users on this channel to conversion, right? How are users consuming the content there? How close is this channel to the point of conversion, whatever your conversion is? Does this create high or low or user customer intent? Is it a high intent? Remember, SEO is high intent, right? We understand that. Maybe billboard is not necessarily high intent, so you want to put and fill something in there. And then you look at the growth model. What role does the channel play in acquisition? What particular role is the channel playing in acquisition? You want to look at that. What role does this play in acquisition? Is the acquisition, retention, or monetization? And then you want to look at the metrics. What metrics will this impact? State it clearly, right? So you want to look at what metric that will impact. Okay, so we have an example of Credit Karma here, and we have an instance where let's just take a look at their search engine marketing and TV, how this fits into whatever they're doing. And so they look at the use case of Credit Karma. Can I reach people who have my target use case on this channel? Oh yes, maybe they found out that okay, search engine marketing helps because does this channel context align with your use case? Yes, it aligns with my use case because it's demand capture, because people they are generally filling in keywords, right? So and they can find us there. And then you have intent. Yeah, intent will be high because I mean it's search engine marketing. The intent, somebody's planning to check their credit score. Yeah, intent is high for credit score to low intent for ads on the platform, right? And then you have the growth model. What is the function here? It's a linear acquisition channel. So it's not like a loop, right? Because you're spending money. It's not looping. Nothing is feeding into the ads that you're showing people on the search. So this is not a loop. This is a linear acquisition. And you want to say, okay, what role does it play? Is it acquisition Yeah, it's an acquisition channel. So you can say yes, acquisition. And then you have metric. What metric are you looking for here? You want new users on the platform. So that'll be new members. Uh, Unlike, for example, TV. You see TV for this particular channel, Credit Karma, is low intent. People are watching things, they're watching news. So if you run an advert, they are not interested in trying to buy the product. They are doing something totally different. The intent of somebody that is going to Google to search is different from somebody that is watching a TV. So you want to fill out all these things after you've actually itemized maybe like the five major ones that you believe suits your case. All right. So what you then do eventually is to use what we call the bullseye framework, where you have various circles like this, and you pick the top three channels based on all the assessment that you've done. You pick the top three channels, then you pick the next six channels, and then you pick the very low level channels in the outer ring. So basically, that's how that works. You pick the top three, and then you look at the top three. So you must understand again that channel targeting capabilities, um, because for channels have various targeting capabilities. Like even if you wanted to run adverts on some of the channels, they have their various targeting capabilities. For example, LinkedIn. This is exclusive to LinkedIn. I mean, on LinkedIn, you can, if you are a B2B business, you can literally target people based on their job seniority, based on their industry, based on their company name, where they even work, based on their company size, based even on their job title. But you see, you can't do all this on other platforms. And it's because LinkedIn is a professional channel. So you must understand that various channels have their various strengths in terms of what can you even target on the platform, right? Um, and the objectives and things you can do on the platform also matter. For example, on LinkedIn, there's no app install. You don't run app install ads. Like if you have a app, um, LinkedIn doesn't have that as an objective. Um, Facebook, on the other hand, Facebook has a very robust marketing targeting criteria where you have from demographics to behaviors to custom, where you can upload your maybe customers' details, maybe their email, their phone number, and then you can then create a lookalike. So it has all that. So Facebook has all that. Um, yeah, and these are things you can do. You can see that Facebook, compared to LinkedIn, you can actually run rich adverts. So if you just want to reach a specific amount of people, and that's under awareness. Also, you can see that Facebook has app install ads compared to LinkedIn ads. So various platforms have their various targeting capabilities or targeting criteria. All of the channels are not created equally in terms of how you can target your ideal users. This is Facebook targeting. For Facebook, you can do follower targeting. You can target people based on what they're talking about. So if people are very passionate about maybe personal finance or something like that, and you have a personal finance app, then you can target people based on what they are saying, right? You couldn't do keyword targeting on Facebook, right? So this is another uniqueness of Twitter, because Twitter can do that. Twitter can do that, right? So you have keyword targeting, though it's a social media platform, so you can do that here. You also have what we call tailored audiences, where you can do something similar to that of Facebook, where you can, you know, upload your own CRM list of your users. And then these are the campaign objective. You can do like maximize your ads reach. You can do like reach adverts. Um, you can do like reach adverts in this particular place. You also then have app re-engagement. You can also do app installs here, right? So you can do also pre-roll views, because you do not have pre-roll views, for example, on Facebook as an advert, but here you have a pre-roll view. So this is similar to what you have when you are watching a content on YouTube and you see the YouTube adverts, right? So you have like a pre-roll. Then for Google Ads, of course, you have Google's market segments, where you have in segments, affinity segments. They have demographics, age, maybe household income for some particular places, life events, whether somebody just got married. But you also have affinity segments and in market segments. So Google has the ability to help you to see people that are, how do I put it now? They actually in the process of searching for something. They are searching for it. They visited similar websites like that. and then you can see that, between the market segment and the affinity segments. You can also you also have your remarketing data, maybe people that have visited your website and you want to remarket them. You can also look for a customer match. A customer match is similar to the custom audience that we have um, for Twitter, which we call the tailored audiences. And so your own customers, you can reach them again if you want to do a re-engagement campaign, or similar segments, which is like your look alike segments. So you also have that there. You also have custom segments, maybe app based, website based. So you have things like your own custom segment, or search term based. You can also have things like that. So Google has a very robust targeting system, and you want to look at that. So you can target people based on the search terms they are using, on the websites they've even visited, which websites have they visited. For example, I remember the time that we were running a campaign for the popular fintech app RiseVest. Well, one of the things we did then was to actually run campaigns targeting people that are on similar fintech investment apps, because Google has the data if they are on Google Play Store, and then anybody that has those apps, or people that are similar to people using those apps, we can actually reach out to those people, because those are our ideal customers, right? So we have that, and then we do have the objectives: leads, website traffic, app promotion, brand awareness, and then the campaign type: search, display, and shopping. Um, so this is TikTok. TikTok also has a very similar to Facebook, so I won't go into details. Has almost the same feel, look and feel, and has almost the same sort of targeting criteria. And then they also have interest category. What can you do here? You can run rich adverts, which is like on the awareness. You can also do app install ads here, right? And you can do traffic ads here to your maybe landing page. And you can also do conversion ads on this particular place. You can see we have demographics, and this is actually for Snapchat, right? On Snapchat, we also have demographics, we have location. So very similar also to actually Facebook. Very, very similar to Facebook in terms of the things that you can target. Only that the people that are present here, they are possibly and what they are doing on maybe Snapchat is sort of different from what they are doing on Facebook. So, but the targeting criteria are very, very similar. So these are the objectives that you can achieve on Snapchat, for example. Awareness, you can promote places, you can also do app install, you can drive traffic to your app, you can drive traffic to the website, and you also have app conversion ads that you can also run here. So that being said, how should your message be? Remember that you've done your value proposition canvas, and there's a general framework that is being used, marketing, which is what we call the AIDA framework, where we talk about your attention, interest, desire, and action. That means you want to tailor the message that you are going to show to people wherever platform you are using. The first thing you want to do is to grab people's attention, and then once you've grabbed their attention, you want to make them to be interested and to desire what you have, so that they can take action, right? And so attention has to do with what is it, like, so somebody sees something that you post or you are pushing, whether it's an advert, whatever it is. The first question is, what is it? Then the second question is, oh wow, I think I like it. Now I think I want it. And then action is, I'm getting this. So that is what that's how the AIDA model framework actually works. So it looks almost like a sales funnel, right? The attention point is where the customer becomes aware of a category or product, like he's aware you've gotten the person's attention. And then next, the consumer becomes interested by learning more about the brand. Maybe there's something else that you said, right? And then you spark desire. So the consumer develops a favorable disposition towards the brand, right? And then you also then have the actions, like once people, they say people do business with businesses that they know. That's attention. Like, right? Like will be interest and trust. No like trust factors. So knowledge, I like you, I trust you. So there's a desire there, and then there will then be an action that you want to be able to take. A good example is something like this, like a billboard example. What usually grabs people's attention is either the video or the image. It's the biggest thing. So people don't usually read words first. People think in images. Images grab our attentions faster than text. So you must now um, put in mind the kind of image you want to put there. Headlines sometimes also will stand as attention because, for example, when you are doing search SEO or search engine marketing, you necessarily do not add image. So your title has to grab attention. But in this instance, you have an image. I'm like, okay, so what is this? That has grabbed the person's attention. The next thing is like, okay, you want to add some exotic to your world. Okay. And then the desire is possibly because you are giving some discounts. So you now want the person to you the person is now desiring you because you're even giving a discount. And the call to action is let people know that they can find it in a particular store, in a store called Acme Pets. So exotic would be exotic fishes, right? You want to buy exotic fishes, maybe marine fishes. And so that would be sort of like an example. Another example here is that you find, you can see that the attention, when you look at attention there, the attention is the image and the headline. Marriage does come with its reward. So that's the first thing. Oh, what is this? When I came to the slide, the first thing that came to your mind or the first thing that grabbed your attention is maybe the car, because all the other things are smaller, right? And then if you are interested, you then move to the smaller parts of, okay, more information, and then desire more information, and then you have a call to action, where you have the call to action, which is to call or contact somebody, which is like a contact, right? Call to action is you're telling people what they need to do. You have to give them an action to do. You have to tell them what they need to do. Is it to sign up? Is it to install? Is it to visit the website? It has to be clear. We have this other example for Netflix. The first thing that grabs my eyes here will be the image, because that's the biggest thing. Remember hierarchy. So when you are developing your hider, when you are developing your messaging, the thing that should be the biggest, the most noticeable, is the one that you want to use to grab attention, right? Because if sacred and games here is the biggest thing, and these other things are small, I don't know what sacred and games is, but this grabs my attention first because I'm like, what is this? Once this grabs my attention, then the next thing is the headline. The headline would be something like the sacred games, which I'm now interested. Okay, it's a Netflix original series. Okay, I get it. It's on Netflix because Netflix is also big. Because there's something called visual hierarchy. It means the bigger the things are, so the biggest thing should be on what you are trying to push should be what you are trying to use to grab attention. That's the first thing. Attention is now a currency nowadays. Then what's the next thing you want people to see should be the bigger thing. So in this case, you have sacred games and you have Netflix, almost the same font size. And then now you are desirous of it, right? And maybe the desire, like, okay, now that I'm interested, I want to read more. Okay, the righteous, the ruthless, everyone wants to play. Okay, what's the call to action? The call to action here is for me to know that this is coming out on July 6th, right? On Netflix. So if I have a Netflix, I can then actually watch out for July 6th, right? So, how can you write great headlines though, since we are talking about this? So we have a tool called the CoSchedule Headline Analyzer. I will give us access to all the resources, and this is free. What this helps you to do is to put a score for your headline even before you do anything at all, before you promote anything at all. You can know the score of your headline. It's usually in percentages. Are you scoring 70%? Are you scoring 100%? It checks the length of your headline. It checks whether your headline actually has a power word. Power words are the things that causes people to take action. They provoke certain emotions in people. So you have the free headline analyzer, which I usually use. You can sign up, and this particular tool here by RankMath has a list of power words that you can always use in your headline. When you're writing a copy, you want to include headline. You want to include a power word in what you write, because specific words trigger specific types of action. All words are not created equal when it comes to psychology in marketing, right? So we want to use power words and include that in this particular headline analyzer to see how that helps you to rank better. You also have the tone checker by Sapling. All you need to do is to post your headline here, or whatever you want to you put it here. It's free. You have a free version, and then just click on detect tone. And then once you click on detect tone, you are able to know whether it's giving a joyful vibe or is it giving a sadness vibe. Like it's what emotions do you want to spark in people. You can know. You can know. Will people admire you, or will people admire what you are saying? Will people be excited, and is he approving? So you can see overall, you can see that it's admiring, this excites people, and it's approving. The super amazing app you need for your financing. What kind of emotion does this spark in people? People are excited. People, the one that even carries a huge weight, which is where you find 0.5, is the admiring, right? So does that draw people in? You can see it here under overall. So you can use this tone checker to actually check and predict how people will react to your headline. So another thing to look at is, as you're writing that, I just wanted to just chip this in here about the Robert Cialdini's 6 persuasion principles, right? Because what you're trying to do is to persuade people, right? And you want to use this in your headline. You want to also use it in your image, right? To grab the attention, to either create desire. You want to be using this to persuade people. And so you have the reciprocity, which means people would like to give back to somebody that gave them something, right? So you use your advert around, is it a freemium? When you give people something, people are more, they can give you more. So that's reciprocity. And then you have scarcity. Is it urgent? So for example, you have e-commerce store that will tell you only 5 left, only 12 left. Are you adding that as a way to drive action? Are you including scarcity? Consistency has to do with commitment, right? Desire to be, because people desire to be consistent with what they've done already. So if they've done something, this is you trying to make people to commit to small actions. By committing to small action, this is micro engagement, people are able to even commit to more. Consensus has to do with social liking. What are people, when you say 10 million people use this, 20,000 people can't be wrong. Those kind of things make you to know that you are not the only one trying to use this. Other people are actually using it. Then you have authority. Authority has to do with, are you a respected figure, or are you even using influencers, right? So authority is part of what people use when they try to use brand influencers, because feel like, okay, you can connect the brand or the product together with the influencer. Or if it's even you building your authority as somebody that knows that thing very well. That is why many platforms also they are building their blog, because they want to be like an authority about that particular matter. And then you have similarity. Similarity is when you project yourself like you are those other people. Like when you behave like the other people, that is similarity. Like we have similar things, we have things in common, or we hold your belief. This is what we believe as a company, and we know that this is what you believe. And then, so you try to use that. So it's like attracting like, right? So you have similarity. So you want to use those 6 persuasion principles also when you are putting out whatever promotion, or whether you are trying to acquire users out there. And so one